Welcome back to Reclaim Your Life with Irina. Today I'm joined by Lawrence Tuazon, a health and life coach, entrepreneur, and transformational speaker who helps people reconnect with their purpose and live extraordinary lives. After a life-changing accident completely reshaped how he viewed health, identity, and success, Lawrence began a powerful journey of reclaiming his life from the inside out. In today's conversation, he shares the wake-up call that changed everything, the lessons that emerged from profound adversity, and the simple yet powerful shifts any of us can make to move from survival mode into alignment, fulfillment, and purpose. Get ready to reclaim your life, discover inspiring stories, practical tools, and the path to true happiness. This is Reclaim Your Life with Irina. Let's begin the journey. Give the woman in your life something that truly matters, or better yet, give it to yourself. The gift inside is for every woman who spent decades being everything to everyone else. It's time to remember who you are and rediscover your happiness. This isn't just a book, it's a permission to put yourself first again. Available now, because the best gift you can give is helping someone find themselves. Hello and welcome to Reclaim Your Life with Irina. Today we have a special guest, Lawrence Tuazon. I think we met Lawrence back in 2021 when we're going through whole body exercise virtually. Then in 2023 we actually met in person in Tallinn, Estonia. It's been amazing. And we also co-authored a book together, The Total Health for Extraordinary Living.
Yes.
And finally we meet here on the podcast. So welcome, Lawrence. It's amazing to be witnessing your journey, and finally you're here with us today, so welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Irina, for having me. I'm really grateful to be here and truly excited to be part of, this podcast, your conversation. I love what Reclaim Your Life stands for, and it's an honor to share this space with you and your listeners today.
Thank you. So please share with us, who is Lawrence in your own words?
Lawrence, a lot. It's been, it's been a lot for me. But the most recent Lawrence for me is not hungry anymore for success or for chasing something. I think Lawrence is now more present, more giving, and more loving, and more present to life.
Beautiful. Thank you. Your life had changed dramatically after your life-altering accident. What moment or season that became your true wake-up call when you realized you needed to reclaim your life on every level?
So the real wake-up call for me, I think, I've been through an accident. It was what happened after the accident for me. So when I woke up in the ICU and I saw my wife crying beside me, something shifted in that moment. I realized how close I was to not being there at all, Not for my family, not for my daughter, not for my life I thought I was building. Up until then, I had been living an autopilot, chasing success, working long hours, doing overtime every day, sacrificing my health, my presence, my joy. And I told myself it was all worth it, but lying there, facing the reality that I might not walk again or might not even survive, I realized I hadn't been living. I had been, I just been surviving. So that was the moment I knew that I didn't just need to recover, but I needed to really get present to life and to my family and reclaim my life, as your podcast says.
Beautiful. Yes, sometimes we rush through life. We go do, and then life can slow us down and kind of pay attention what's going on, what's happening. Losing your leg reshaped how you see health, success, and identity. Can you share the 3 biggest lessons you learned as a result of that wake-up call and how they continue to guide the way you live today?
So for me, what comes to my mind, losing my leg, forced me to redefine success completely. I think that's the beautiful lessons I learned. Before the accident, success was about achievement, recognition, productivity. I was very competent as in a corporate job. How much I could do, how far I could push, how much I could endure. But after losing my leg, none of that mattered, right? So health became everything for me. It was the last thing I looked before, but now it became everything. The ability to move. It feels like I've been I became a baby again, learning how to walk again, if I can say that. I was 32 years old back then, but learning how to walk again by this time with a prosthetic leg. But before that, I need to lose weight. So, to breathe, to be present, to wake up without pain. I realized that if your health collapses, everything else eventually follows, right? So success is no longer about how much you can produce, but about how well you can live. I think, I've been in this state. It feels like life is a game of recovery, not a game of taking more, right? So for me, it's about being strong enough at the same time you're recovering well, you're mentally and physically well, emotionally well, enjoying the life you're working so hard to create. It's a matter of, how you recover rather than how much stress you can endure, right? So that's the thing that I learned after losing my leg.
Wow, that's incredible. And you're so right. Health is our wealth. You could have all the money in the world, but if your health is not there, what is that money going to do? And it's important, and it is the primary thing, because
Yeah.
I think when we start out, we think we just come here to work. This is like the primary thing, and everything falls behind. And this kind of health crisis caused you to look at your life differently and evaluate what actually is mattered more than just producing, getting back home to yourself. In a sense, you often say that reclaiming your health is the first to reclaiming your life. For someone who feels stuck in survival mode, what does actually this look like in real everyday life?
So I think, because without health, you don't have the capacity to show up for anything else, I think, right? So health is energy, health is clarity, health is emotional resilience, we can say that. When I began rebuilding my health slowly and intentionally, everything else started to change, right? It started, my mindset improved, my relationship improved, my confidence came back, my vision for life expand again, right? So reclaiming your health isn't just about, I think it's not even perfection. It's about making choices that supports the life you want to live. And once you have the foundation, everything else becomes possible again. It is the main, in Maslow hierarchies of needs, it's the physiological needs. And if you don't have that physiological needs being attended or being served, we cannot move to the next pillar or to the next level, because that's the foundation.
Totally. So what did it look like for you during those beginning stages, every single day when you were transitioning from being one state into another state? What was the biggest catalyst, or maybe the smallest thing you've done that helped you then on your way?
I think the most, during back then, I started to immerse myself with personal growth. I didn't know personal growth, what the word is all about. And I just to look at myself, because there was a day while I'm recovering after amputation that my daughter wanted to play with me, but I couldn't carry her. I couldn't walk with her. I couldn't even play actively with her because I couldn't stand, So that really played as a catalyst for me, that it's Irina, it only started in a vision that me, my daughter, seeing a shadow of us standing together. That's the biggest catalyst for me, that for this time, I just want to be someone, to be a father for her, so I can play actively with her. So I engage myself in personal growth, changing how my mindset was, my heart set, and trying to wake up as early as I can, so that I can do some rehabilitation stuff for me to lose weight, to get back to my endurance. So I think that was the biggest catalyst for me, my daughter, my love for her, just to be called as a father for her.
Totally. And that could be such a driving force. So, yay. You speak powerfully about radical acceptance and identity shifts, not willpower, is the key to lasting change. Can you explain how accepting what is help you transform adversity into purpose?
So, we know that acceptance is to key to something, right? When I accept that when I accept my amputee life, I started to research about how to live an amputee life, right? But when we say radical acceptance, or I call it acceptance 2.0, is when the one that you accepted, you started telling it to someone else. It's not just about yourself, or you just keep it by yourself. I accept that I'm an amputee. So that is let's call it acceptance 1.0. But when you share it, so Irina, I'm an amputee, or I show my leg to the public, that's me going to acceptance 2.0. Radical acceptance was the turning point. It's the turning point for me, because I'm now showcasing what left for me, or what I have, because for a long time I was fighting reality. I was angry with my body, angry about life, what I lost, and that resistance kept me stuck. I know, because I accepted it for the sake of I want to move forward, but there's a block there. So radical acceptance doesn't mean liking what happened. It means stopping the fight with reality. You use that thing to inspire others. In my own example, right? So I use my disability to inspire someone else, that I did it in one leg. You have two. You can do better than what I did, right? So it means that the moment I accepted this is my body now, I reclaim my power. So that's when the pain turned into purpose for me, when I stopped asking why did this happen to me, and I started asking who can I become because of this disability, or this state of my body.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Oftentimes we live in that resistance. We blame other people or circumstances that took place, and then we miss the whole point.
Yeah.
I love how you say, who are you going to become? Because we
course.
always have that ability, we have the power to choose. And in your personal scenario, it's incredible. I was inspired by watching you journey. You kept inspiring me to keep going when we're doing whole body. Like,
Yeah,
if he can do
thank
it,
you.
I definitely can do it. So
Of
it's
course.
been such an amazing journey watching you to see to the person you became today. How did that, I call it, the tragedy, how did it transform your career? How did you change from what you were before to who you are now?
So with the accident, with the amputee life, I realized I couldn't rebuild my life by forcing myself, right? I needed this change of behavior, let's say that. But then I had to change how I saw myself, because it was pretty hard back then. So instead of seeing myself as broken, I chose to see myself as someone rebuilding. That's the shift that I had in my mind back then. Instead of identifying myself as a victim or as a helpless, I chose the identity of a leader, because I act as a leader. I step onto that leader identity during the hollow body certification, and not just a leader then, but a leader for my family, a leader for my life. And when identity shifts to me, it felt like habit flows naturally for me. It doesn't have to scratch or use too much willpower. I think you know what I mean. You don't have to push as hard as that. You dread your body to do this, or to do this checklist, or to go to the gym, because align with who you believe you're becoming, right? Of who you are. So for me, that identity shifts really helps me to step into the person that I want to be.
Totally. How did your career change as a result of this?
To be honest, after the accident, I lost my career in the job, and savings are draining. And I was just in this path of losing weight and doing a lot of things with my body, because I really want to regain my health and my life. And after all of these shifts that, get all through Mind Valley, through the certification, I can say that I successfully transformed my body, and I felt that I didn't want just to keep it inside of me. I want to share it to someone else. I really felt that I want to go to the hospital and help people who wants to change their health and their body, because I knew that this is something true. This is effective. And that aspires me to share it to the world or to the person who's needing my help. So I aspired to become a coach. And by then, it's just the proper timing that Mind Valley launched their Holo Body program. And I immediately jumped in, met a lot of people, met you, met the others who are really inspiring and really change makers, and really inspired me to really walk this path to become a change maker too. And in this community that we had, I met Kerry, who became my business partner. It really felt that, during our time in the coaching certification, like me sharing this story, sharing what happened to me, the power of storytelling really opened my eyes that it really helps everyone to really share their story and inspire others. That's why Kerry and I, we started the publishing company during that time, because we believe in the power of storytelling, and that puts us to really get serious with the business. So with the span of, I don't know, like I think 5 years, I became a coach and a publisher. And I think this is something that I want to do for the rest of my life, because I really felt that I'm getting this fulfillment of, I don't call it as a job, but I can say I call it as a hobby, because through my experience, I help someone else to really get into their full potential at the same time. I getting paid with it. So it's really a fulfilling job for me right now.
Totally. And I love it. Amazing. So many people, when we share stories, I think before this written word, we were connecting through stories, and now through the power of storytelling, this podcast is here to share and to inspire others who feel stuck, who feel the life is hopeless, by speaking to people like yourself who show that anything is possible truly if you believe, if you have the power. You have the power. We all have the power to choose, but it's giving yourself permission to see who you can become, as opposed to what happened to you. Because we all have, how they say, it's percent what happens and 80% is how we react to what happens and what we can choose. And when we focus our attention on those 20%, I think amazing things can transpire. What was the smallest thing you've done that had the biggest impact in your life so far?
The smallest things that I've done has the biggest impact.
Maybe one small thing.
One small thing among the tools, I think I can pick to the tools that I had when I started to do when I started this personal growth journey. I think it's pretty obvious for me. I think it's journaling. It's journaling for me, because in that journaling, I always ask myself, what are the things that I'm grateful for? Every night I marinate myself with this feeling of gratitude before I go to sleep, because I want to sleep well. You can do that also in the morning, but I find it really effective during at night. Also, journaling really makes me reflect to my day, reflect to the day that, happened. And so I can do better actions, better presence on the next day. And also inside that journaling, it really helped me to, this is the very first thing that I believe I can bend reality. Because after I do my gratitude, I reflect my day, and then I'm planning the next day. I segment intent the next day with how I want it to move, like, with the emotions that I want to feel, with the intentions that I want to have during the entire day. Is it gonna be, more compassionate? Is it gonna be more joy, or more, like the virtue that I was, rather than doing, I just want to be in being compassionate, being helpful, being loving. We can say that so many times, but if you will do that before the day starts, or before the, at the night before the day, goes by, I think if there's a power that you will find, because you will be monitoring your progress by the end of the day, you will find magic, because out of nowhere, like, some of the points will happen, maybe 70%, 80%, 90%. And you will feel that, when you do this, you're bending reality towards you. Back then, when I started it, I wasn't a believer. But when I started it, I was like, wow, it just keep me open. And, I think this is really, really a good tool to start, right? At first, maybe you cannot write so much gratitude to be grateful for, but eventually, like, I can do this all day and list 20 to 50 to 100. At first, I want to be honest, I just listed three. I was grateful for my painkillers, for my wheelchair, for my hospital bed. And I didn't see the air, I didn't see my family, I didn't see, the really obvious, because my mind was in survival mode, I can say, right? I'm just grateful for the things that instantly feel instantly there. But after the gratitude, just writing it for 20 to 30 days, I started to see my lens about life started to to be colorful, I can say that. And yeah, and I can be more conscious with my day. At the same time, I can really bend reality towards me by segment intending my day, and go through it to the next day.
Awesome. I love it. And you're right, journaling is so powerful. It allows us to release our emotions and allows us not to be stuck in the head. Get it out on paper, get it out of your system. And gratitude is so powerful. It's like breadcrumbs we can place in front of us to lead ourselves out of from a dark place into the better place. And in the beginning, yes, it's difficult because you only see what is right in front of you. And oftentimes we take a lot of things for granted, like breathing, like seeing, like being able, you're all across the world on the other side, and we have this, through the power of technology, this amazing podcast with you. And those things, sometimes we take for granted. Or like breathing, I used to take for granted my knees until I dislocated it, and I'm now totally fine and good. And every day when I walk, I say, thank you, my knees, for walking. It might sound silly, might sound trivial, but when we appreciate the things that are important to us, our mind then focuses on more things that we can appreciate.
For sure.
What, I call it, was there a book that inspired your journey that you would want more people to read about?
Actually, back then, when I started this personal growth journey, there are 3 books that I read right immediately. The Code of Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhiani, The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma, and On Purpose by Jay Shetty. Those 3 books really changed the way I show up about life. It really changed how I see the world, and it really changed how I live my day through this, through the chaos I was before, and to the presence that I have right now. It really changed the root inside of me, because those 3 books really hit me hard, that that I was in autopilot and very reactive with what's happening around me, and out of the sudden I didn't know that I lost myself, and I was living a life just being dictated by the society and what's moving around. So those 3 books really a must read for me.
Yeah, I love it. I read, I think I didn't do On Purpose, but the other 2 I did read as well. Yeah, they are incredible. And especially Vishen's book, I call it kind of teaches you that you can't bend reality if you give yourself this amazing power of belief and practice, and with your I call it the segment intending. Did you learn that from Ask and It Is Given, or from some other place?
The segment intending.
Yeah.
The segment intending, I learned it from the code of Extraordinary Mind, and also from the Be Extraordinary Quest. And so I made, in my journal every night, I made a list from an hour, from the wake up time, 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's like a time block, but it's just a one line of what I want to be intended by that hour. So I just write lovely conversations, I just write laughs, something like that. And then just in the middle of the day, I just look at the journal and remind myself, or I put it in my cell phone, just remind myself of what being do I want, or what intention do I want to live during those hours. And yeah, that really anchors me to, to put back to the intention, or to the intended emotions that I wanted to have.
Beautiful.
Really powerful.
Thank you. Many people define success by productivity and burnout. How do you now define success, and what simple daily habits would you recommend to help someone move from surviving to living intentionally?
Success, like I think it's more of, we can have different definitions about success, but for me, it's really the alignment between, my values, my health, and my work or my craft, right? I think it's also the fulfillment of knowing that what I do matters, right? And not being forced or being commanded to do this, because it's I feel it's different, right? So it's impact helping others to reclaim their lives, right? Like what you're doing with this podcast. I think, true story, true story and through your movement, right? And by this, when we have this meaning about success, burnout is no longer there, right? It's more of you being peace, it's more of you being presence, and there's no comparison. So it's more of your purpose, right? And it's about, becoming more of who you truly are rather than following some more or someone and trying to be that person, right? It's We cannot be that person. Everyone is taken, so why don't you be you, right? So yeah, that's for me.
Awesome. What are some of your, I know you already mentioned journaling, what are some of your other daily non-negotiables that you can't live without on a day-to-day basis?
I think it's more like I want to be honest with you. Like after the journaling, it's more of me like just pausing and just breathing. Like, I think I do it more consciously for my health, but also, when I learn about meditation and about the power of breathing, when we pause and try to breathe, let's say 5 by 5 or 5 or 5, whatever it is, as long as it is a controlled deep breathing, you tend to pause and really control of your nervous system, because a lot of things happen in life that cannot be controlled, or we are in this reactive state. And when we are like that, we feel stress, right? And we all know when we feel stress, we stiff and we don't breathe, like really, like, we're breathing, let's say, abnormally, right? Like not the way that the body wants. So I take a pause in a day, or when I walk, I try to breathe as slower as I can or as deeper as I can, so that I can really take control of my nervous system. At the same time, it goes to my nose and exhale it through my mouth, or I just stuck it inside my lungs. And I think it's really good for the body physiologically, and also for our stress, for the body to know that we are not in a stressful day. Yeah. So breathing, just deep breathing in the middle of the day, in the middle of the hours, something like that. When I felt that, this is a break for me, I just put, because I think the most important thing for us is the air, right? Physiologically. And yeah, I put that as number one priority. Like right after I wake up, I open the window and just breathe. It can be cold because it's winter, but yeah, it's just for a few minutes. So yeah, I prioritize breathing, actually.
Oh, awesome. Yes. Breathing is so important, and we don't even know how to breathe. We don't learn that. A lot of people have shallow breathing, and that's how they go through life, unless something happens that causes them to evaluate it. I recently told my kids, like, we don't even know how to breathe. And like, Mom, are you crazy?
Yeah.
But there is a science behind the whole breathing
For sure.
thing, and like you said, those, it could be very little, but it creates such a different change for us. And changing a nervous system is so important when we are in the flight or fight, and we can, by simply breathing, shift all of that within ourselves without going to a doctor or without needing any external tools. We have everything we need right here, right now. And we don't even notice.
Yeah, it's really important, because if because it, not just like your lungs will spread out, your breathing muscles will really work, and there's a lot of benefits out there, right? Your stress level lower down, and, a lot of good hormones will release. So it's really magical how to, if we can do breathing properly.
What is your superpower if you had to pick one?
For me, it's the leg that I lost, or this prosthetic leg is my superpower, because this is a reminder for me that after all that happened in my life, that I can say that you don't need legs to fly, right? But you just need, to be you, to go to that mountain that you want to, to want to get through, or you want to get to the peak of the mountain. But this is my superpower because this reminds me of the things that life gives you, something that you may not accepted. But with this state that I had, I tend to accept life that, although I started maybe incomplete, we can say incomplete or in negative, if you really align yourself to the values, to the goals, and to the actions that you want to have in life, even though you're amputated or not, life will give you what you want, right? And I can say that being, my amputee or my prosthetic leg or the missing part of me is my superpower because like visually, I think I retain a very good memory to someone else when they saw me. Like we can be lined, but if I will show my leg, I think I can be the one who will be remembered because of the way it looks to me. But it's not only that. I think the ultimate reason why I call it my superpower because this disability enables me to transform and touch other people's lives the way I wanted to. Because I use my disability to really, for my coaching, to my speaking, that it is not about what happened to you. I lost a leg, I can be drowned or I can be, I can be mentally ill or something else, but I choose to live again, right? I don't wish that everyone will lose a leg because it's hard, but I just use this one as not that, life isn't over until you say you go flatline, right? But life is so beautiful that even though you feel incomplete, you will be complete when you do the right things. And I can say it over and over again, Irina, that if I will choose between the two-legged Lawrence and the one-legged Lawrence where I am right now, I will always choose the one-legged Lawrence because, like I said, I'm now more present. I am now more loving. I am now more giving. And I know that I am in my right track to do my purpose in life. And eventually, when I left the world, I can say that I did it right. Not the two-legged Lawrence that I was chasing more and I lost. So, yeah. So for me, my superpower is this prosthetic leg or the missing leg. It's weird, right? My superpower is my missing leg.
Yes, it shifted your perspective on life. You see life from a different point of view now. That point is much more beautiful than what before. Before it was limited, I guess, and now it's
Yes.
expanded in many ways.
Yeah, because I can feel that, and I'm really grateful that you bring that because I faced that. I can say 12 times because that's the number of times that I went to the operating room. I went there for the 12 operation, 12 major operation. And every time I go there, I know that, they can make a mess or I cannot go back anymore, right? And when I was in deep depression, I wish that I will not wake up. I just hope that I will die because I don't want to live again. But here I am, I woke up and experiencing that a near fatal death experience really put me in a different perspective of how I see life. Like what I said, I don't want to wish someone else to, to go through what I've been through. But if I can just share if I can just put you in a, I don't know, like in a like this 3D experience that you will experience what I have, but we don't have that. But this experience put me into the perspective that I need to be more present. I need to be more. It's a different level for me of how I play my health, of how I show up to my relationship, of how I make business or how I do my craft. Because like facing death so many times, like anytime from now, in the snap of a finger, you can die, and maybe you will thought that that's not the life that I want to live, right? But now, after experiencing that, I know that I am close to the life that I want to live because I'm living it right now. And with that perspective, I choose to be more intentional with every day that I will be facing life, I will be facing someone, and I just want to live them better than before I found them, right? So it's a different perspective for me. And I know for people who face death so many times, it's a different perspective too. And I wish everyone will have that same perspective. But of course, life is so beautiful that we don't have the same one, but we have. But I think it's a game that we will explore that in some part of our life.
Really, you're so right. Thank you so much. Is there anything I haven't asked that you would like to share?
I want to share. I think it's, I want to share that in so many times that life doesn't work the way we want it to, you know, but the way we want it to get through, or the way we want it to be. We get frustrated, we get stubborn or do crazy things. I think, there's a lessons with that, right? There's a lesson, or life is supposed to be like that, because if life will happen the way we want it to be, life will be boring, or challenge will not be there, and we will not be improving, or we will not be in this state of training, right? To be good, to be better. So I believe that life happens because we sign up for this. Maybe I sign up to lose a leg, and this is the life that I sign up, and I will live through this state until I die. But I think when life happens, I just tend to think that, this is what I sign up for. And I think it's a joyous experience for me to find out what is the lesson after this, right? So, yeah. I think that's a powerful mindset that I want to share, that we all sign up for what we are dealing right now. It is not that we just hit it in a random that I will lose a leg and you will be unlucky. But I think I sign up for this. And for the coming problems or challenges that we have in life, let's think about it that we sign up for that, and we are looking for the lessons after that.
You're so right. I call it everything we choose. We choose the good, the bad, and the ugly, but we only appreciate the good. And when the bad strikes, it's like somebody else did it to us. It's their fault. And it's so important, like when we look at a life, instead of feeling it as a punishment, what is the lesson here that I currently cannot see? What is that lesson that I can take with myself and maybe make a different decision, make a better decision next time? That way, life is always happening for us, for our greatest good, for our greatest achievement, so we can do something different, so we can evolve, so we don't stay stuck in the same mindset. We're always given lessons and things, and it's up to us how we want to react and how we want to change or shift our direction in life.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's been a pleasure to have you. Always talking with you, I get inspired every time. If
Thank
people
you.
would like to connect with you, learn more about the work you are doing, where would they go?
Yeah, so I just want to say, Irina, thank you again for creating this space. You're really inspiring, doing this podcast, for having such a meaningful conversation, not just for me, but for others. I watch your YouTube and your podcast, and it really has something that really powerful, not just for people who are looking for insights, but I think it's in a whole genre of improving themselves. So for me, if anything I shared today resonated with your listeners, resonated with you, my invitation is simple. You don't have to do this alone, right? So yeah, if you're looking to reclaim your health, your identity, or your purpose, I love to support you through my coaching work. And I'm also a publisher. So if you have a story inside of you, and you feel called to share it with the world, my team and I at Be Extraordinary Publishing helps authors and thought leaders turn their message into impact. And yeah, so that's what I'm working for. You can connect with me and follow my journey on social media. And yeah, I give the links to Irina, and I think it will be there. It will be here. So no matter where you are right now, I think know this: it's never too late to reclaim your life. I reclaim it through one leg. You can reclaim it with youth, right? And there's nothing special with me. And, you can create something extraordinary. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll include everything in episode notes. It's been a pleasure to have you, and watching your journey is always inspiring. So thank
My
you
pleasure.
so much.
Thank you, Irina.